Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Tarek El-Guindi with the Mr. Olympia. Terrence Ruffin is coming in. We also have Samir Bannout coming in. In the meantime, I have the one and only, the 2000 Mr. USA's, the voice of bodybuilding, the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia, Bob Cicherillo. How are you, Bob?
What's up, Tarek? We are rocking and rolling. 6 weeks out. The countdown continues on, my friend, and qualifications are in short demand. Just a few shows left, and we will have our roster set for the 2025 Olympia.
Bob, while we wait for Terrence Ruffin and Samir Bannout to get in, I want to know from you. You saw the lineup for the Italy show. You got names like Sergio Oliva Jr., who I spoke to this morning. And he said, Tarek, if you look at that lineup, nobody has won a pro show. I'm the only one who's won a pro show. We have Quentin Beastwood coming off 2 second places. Urs Kalachinski moving on to open, following your advice from the 2024 New York Pro. We have Tim Budashine. Talk to me about what you think of this lineup.
You know, this has really turned out to be a great show, and I'm very excited for this because, you get to the end of the season, and let's face it, a lot of the superstars are already qualified. Some of that lineup has been in place for some months now, but this is really sizing up to be a great show. You also got Sergio in there, finally. We've been waiting all year to see his emergence. His pictures and videos have been very impressive, and he has put together a physique, I think, that's going to be very formidable here. Quint Beachwood is definitely the man to beat. There's no question about that. 2 runner-up finishes. He is looking for that qualification. But all eyes are on Urs Kalachinski right now. The crossover, everybody knows Urs from his classic fame, and now we're going to see him in an open format, some 40 pounds heavier than we saw him last. This could be the story of the year.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm going to introduce you a Mr. Olympia, a man that has won the Mr. Olympia title. His nickname is the Lion of Lebanon. Every time somebody references a Christmas tree, they should have in their mind Samir Bannout's back double biceps. Welcome, Mr. Olympia.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Bob.
Hey, what's up, Samir?
Nice to be with you guys.
Yes.
Nice to be with you, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. Samir, we're waiting for Terrence to come in. He's rushing from the gym. But
okay,
we want to do a quick preview of the show in Italy. We got Urs Kalachinski moving from classic physique to open. What do you think about this change?
I'm sorry, I don't really recall the gentleman you're talking about right now.
Urs Kalachinski, the German bodybuilder.
Yeah.
That took 3rd place in the here I have
you have a photo?
Yes.
Yeah, man, I'm old school. I don't really keep up with every little one by name. You tell me Bob Cicherillo, you tell me Sergio Oliva, Frank Zane, Tom Platz, I will remember right away. But no, I know most of the new guys, but I haven't really kept up. Oh, okay, let's see. I was trying to start with my home computer. Unfortunately, the link didn't work, so that's why now I'm using my phone instead.
Well, listen, you don't even have to know this guy personally, Samir, to know that this guy is the top 3 perennial in the last 5 years. He's a rather young gentleman. He's got a great physique, and he's been in the top 3 at the highest levels. But that's in classic physique. He's now put on about 40 pounds, and he's throwing his head into the open arena. And just this week coming up here, so just a few days.
That's a lot of beef. 40 pounds, that's a lot of beef. That's how much muscle I put all my life.
Right.
That's crazy. That's very good.
Well, this is really going to open up a lot of doors. We're hoping that a lot of classic guys maybe follow suit, because we feel like there's some great physiques in that classic physique division. But until somebody goes through that door, now Chris Bumstead opened it a little bit last year. As he did one show, he always wanted to do one open show. Arguably could have and should have won it against Martin Fitzwater, who's a top 4 Olympian. A lot of people had Chris winning that show, but he kind of opened that door a little bit, but somebody's got to bust through it. that man might be Urs Kalachinski.
Yeah, I know. Bob, if you have the frame for it and your body can handle, why not? By all means. I mean, look at what Urs now doing. He's entering, he's gotten to the heavier size. He could do very well if he gained arm like Bob and Samir and Sean. If he get his arm a little bit bigger, I think he's going to do very, very well. And sometimes, Bob, when you have a boundary about your weight and you have to lose 15, 20 pounds, like, for example, like when we talk about, for example, Brayon, when you lose a lot of weight, sometimes it comes out from the wrong area, like Brayon loses it in the legs. So, if you have the frame to go, to go big, why not? So from what you guys say, and this guy have a nice physique, it still look wasted. And, the tiny waist is always necessary, because I know Bob nowadays, he's cracking down on all these refrigerators.
Did you just say refrigerators?
Well, I kind of noticed that Bob right now is signing out with a pretty physique. So, I think back in the days, we always had that V shape, that tiny waist. And, unfortunately, some people don't have it the new concept, the new, what do you say, the formula or the cocktail, Bob, whatever you want to name it.
Right.
I think it's a little bit different than what we did back in the days. And somewhat it's backfiring to some of these people. And, this is another topic about gaining mass in the wrong area and getting blocky, But,
it's funny, Samir, because a lot of people, they talk, but they don't really pay attention. And right now, like we hear a lot of people out there talking about all those guys with the big waist, all those guys with the bubble guts and this and that. And when they keep saying all those guys, I keep trying to think, who are they talking about? Because you've got Samson Dauda as the reigning champ, certainly has a small waist, especially for a big man. And he looks great lately, 6 weeks out. You got Derek, another former Mr. Olympia. You got Hadi, another former Mr. Olympia.
Wow.
None of these guys have big weight. You got Martin Fitzwater, again, another guy. Andrew Jatt, another small. And now you've got some new guys coming in. So they tend to talk like it's, 10 years ago. And there's like a whole bunch of these guys. And there just simply isn't. If there's more guys than not that have an aesthetic physique, again, the judges should be looking for symmetry. Shape, symmetry, presentation. They should be looking for proportion. These are all the ideals of what bodybuilding and the Mr. Olympia represents. But when there's, one or two guys who may be thick-waisted, but 6 or 7 or 8 that aren't, that's going to shift the goalpost over to those type of physiques.
We know, Bob, I've always said it. You know it. I know it. Tyre know it. Sometimes the battle really, the first step, when you step on stage, Tyre, the judges really look at your middle, your abs, and your upper thighs. If you don't have that intact, good luck. So, I know Bob, he was like talking in the past about I don't want to mention name personally, but, it's very, very important to have that nice, tight midsection and separation in the thighs. And, Bob says it, like sometimes you talk to these people, they just don't want to listen. Some of them are smart enough and they do that. And, the result would be fantastic. Anyway, I'm not going to mention name, but I tell you what, man, the beautiful physique should always be here, whether it's 1925 or 1930. I think a beautiful body. We train, we do our best to build a beautiful body. And so once you start getting blocky and have the pregnancy syndrome, Tade, I'm definitely against that.
My question to you, Samir, is why do you look at me when you say pregnancy syndrome?
I don't know. I'm on my phone. I don't know what I'm looking at right now because look at.
Have you not
to see my computer? It just didn't function. I can barely see you guys on my special iPhone, but
look at my taper here, Bob.
You got a beautiful. Listen, bro, you're built for power. Okay, you're not for prettiness, and that's okay because you're my brother, and that's good. But people don't know your background of MMA, so you will still kick their ass upon command.
Yeah, since I cannot fight, I cannot run. I might as well learn how to fight.
You
No,
know,
You're
the
looking at it
bottom
right
line
now.
is, look. I mean, I'm not biased for the old school, but the bottom line, I don't care if you weigh 290. I don't care how ripped you are. But when you have a terrible midsection, forget about it. You can forget about it. And I know Bob had mentioned that, mentioned, I don't want to mention name again, because really I'm neutral here. And we want this guy to do good. And I honestly, personally, I don't care who wins. But the bottom line, these guys should really listen to experience, okay? They should listen. Uh, you know, you have to change some of the things you're doing. Anytime you get blocky, you're not going to be on my list of great champion, honestly. For example, I see nowadays, a lot of people paying attention to the middle. And all these guys, like, when you see Hardy, right away he's got a tight midsection. Look at when we talk about what's his name, you
what do
know,
you, what do you think of Samson here on his guest posing? He
I,
just
I
posed in Romania. What do you think of this physique?
I tell you the truth, Samson, wonderful. Samson have a beautiful body. He look actually classic. He probably
Yeah.
weigh more than 280. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
bodybuilding is all about, I really think it's not going to be walk in the park for Samson, although I love his body. In my opinion, he can be even a little bit sharper. If he comes in 100%, I don't know if Bob agree with me or not. If Samson come in shredded, Lord have mercy, everybody's in trouble.
Oh, listen,
Everybody's. Why?
every
Because what do you think?
Sim-
He's got a
Sim-
beautiful physique. I mean, the guy shoulder to waist ratio is unbelievable. Wasp waist, sweep on the thighs. He can pose too, right, Bob?
oh
You
yeah.
know.
Listen, Samir, everybody knows me and follows my stuff, knows I'm a big Samson supporter. I have been since he was an amateur, and you could see him coming a mile away. What
Yes.
Samson's going to do, and what you just saw this week, is huge, because what you have is a 280-pound plus Samson who's in
Yes.
better shape than he was at 6 weeks out last year, and all he did was win the Olympia title last year.
Yeah.
I think he made a tactical error in going in the Arnold. I would have never advised him to do that. By the same
Okay.
token, he's a guy who likes to go out and compete, and he says, "Look at it; it's a show. I look at it like a game. You lose a game, you win the next game." So,
Well, you raise the money. You raise the
coming to
money, and now these guys want to compete more, Bob.
well, hey, listen, you can't fault them for that, Samir. I mean, there's a lot of money on the line. Derek also threw his head in that ring, and he put $500,000 in his pocket. So you got to give it up to the businessman.
Well, Bob, in a way, listen, it's all depend on how much use and abuse they do for one prep. Each individual may do things differently. In Samson's case, he might be very healthy. I know what you're referring to. The body, the receptor will be shutting down. The receptor won't work as effectively when you consistently use a supplement. I mean, let's be honest about it here.
Well,
So
listen,
yeah, I'm with Bob on that. It's good. You should take a break, get healthy, make sure your receptor are clean, and so when you get back, boom, you have a. I mean, we need to talk about it openly, just like that.
Well,
So health is wealth, and yeah, as Bob says, it's better to wait and stay healthy instead of like boom, boom, boom.
As
So
the champion, I would have suggested that he got the one break that you're going to get as the champ, which is you're already qualified. Take the year, do your appearances, be healthy, get off the gas for a little while, and then come in and defend your title. Now, let's also keep in mind that was back in March, so he's had plenty of time. He looks great, he looks healthy, and he looks absolutely phenomenal right now. He's in better shape.
Yes.
What Samson is going to bring, I say he's going to be in his best condition we've ever seen him. That's going to elevate similar physiques up to his level to compete. That's good for guys like Andrew Jack. That's good for guys like Quentin Beastwood. Should he get there, he's got to qualify still, but he's a tremendous talent. Those type of physiques, like company. Okay, that's also going to put the shorter guys and blockier guys a little bit on the outside looking in, because they're not going to compare as well. Derek has a very small waist. Derek, Hadi, and Samson have all beaten each other. So this is really rounding in to be a great. And then you got Fitzwater, you got Andrew Jack, and you can't forget Beirut Tabani. Should he be able to get here to the States? He's had visa issues in the past. He's a tremendous talent. So
I love his body. By the way, speaking of Beirut, I think the man's got a beautiful, beautiful physique.
Yeah.
He could do a little bit different yet in some of the positioning he's doing, but I think it's very dangerous, very dangerous. He's just as dangerous as Hardy, to be honest. You know, I mean, good thing that you said that, Bob. You know, good luck. I hope he'll make it to the United States and be able to compete like everybody else. And I hope the U.S. government let the athlete come and compete. You know what I mean? Forget
Well,
about all the
unfortunately,
dumb politicians.
yeah.
You know,
Unfortunately, it's not the U.S. government; it's his own government. That's the problem. But that's a whole
yeah,
other discussion. But
yeah,
Tarek, my question to you is this, my friend, as a judge, as an
yeah. I tell you what, man. I mean, for me,
Kalachinski,
I
should Urs
yeah.
Kalachinski himself at the Olympia because of his structure and coming from Classic? Does he instantly become a threat into the top 6, or is that something he's still a year or two away from?
Well, Rafael Brandon, who's not one of the biggest guys, has placed 7th at the
Yeah,
Mr. Olympia, if I'm not mistaken, 7th or 8th. And a
right.
lot of people speculated that Rafael Brandon should, move into Classic. He's trying to gain a lot of muscle. So I think, yes, he's a threat. I think he's a threat to 7th, 6th, 8th. He could surprise and be in the top 5 based on conditioning. But again, Bob, we did a live with him and he said he's up 40 pounds, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm sorry. If he's up 40 pounds, 2 things might happen in Italy. He's going to shock the world and look so good that he might even win the Olympia, or he's going to be out of shape and we might be disappointed with him. I think that's the conclusion we can take, right? Because 40 pounds is a lot of muscle.
Yeah, but
I don't
we
think he's going to be out of shape. I just don't see that coming from Urs. I think he's going to be very much in shape. And let me tell you, there was another guy who Samir is very, very familiar with, who when he was coming up had everything that there was, except he said his arms aren't big enough if he brings his arms up. That guy's name was Lee Haney.
yeah, man. I mean, those kind of physique you can find nowadays. I think that beautiful white, the shoulder to waist ratio, it's amazing. I mean, again, Samson is one of those guys that have that looks, but I'm still, I know Samson being Mr. Olympia, he's going to be the favorite, but I really hope that he will come in harder than last year. And I
Yep.
know he's working very hard. I see all the video and he's training really hard, killing himself in the gym, So it's all, for me, it's all bet is off until I see them all on stage, And so it's very hard to speculate. I don't care how hard we train, but it only happened that one day, that 1 hour, that's everything.
Now, Bob, I have a question for you.
True, bro.
You said in the beginning of the live, you made a controversial statement. And I want
Me?
to go. Yes.
What is
Your first controversial statement in your career?
Yes.
You said, and I want you to bring clarity to your statement.
Uh-oh.
You said that Samson Dauda at his guest posing is already better than what he presented at the Mr. Olympia?
No. I said that Samson Dauda guest posing at 6 weeks out was better than 6 week out Samson Dauda last year.
I
He
see,
went
okay.
on to win the Olympia. What you're seeing right now is a guy who's grown into that humongous body. He's 300 plus pounds in the off season, but he's following in the footsteps. Because I remember when Ronnie came up, I remember when Jay came up, and when those guys were close to 300, Ronnie was over 300. Jay got close. Nasser, I remember Dorian even, right? When those guys came up earlier in their career, in the offseason, they were very doughy. And let's face it, they weren't in very good shape. They were huge for guest posing. But as they went on in their career, they all progressively got in better shape at a higher weight. And that's what we're seeing from Samson Dauda. That means he's kind of grown into that physique. And I think what you're going to see, to Samir's delight, is the best Samson Dauda that you've seen. Now, I don't know if there's that France show again he did last year, where it was like 2 weeks out or a week out of the Olympia, which I think greatly helped him. But this guy at 100%, there's nobody on that stage. His fate is in his hands. If Samson shows up in what I call the 95 percentile, that means he's 95 or higher in terms of what he can bring to the stage. Nobody can beat him on that stage that's competing. His fate is in his hands.
You know what? I have to agree with Bob on that. You know, even at 95%. I mean, for me, he just needed to have a tad bit more clarity. You know what? When I talk about clarity, let me explain that, Tarek. The finer your skin, the more detail and separation. This is why sometimes I kind of make the measurement 18, 21, 24K. When Samson is 24K, let me tell you something, man. It's going to be hell for everybody. I'll repeat that. If Samson is onion skin, 24K, with that mass and symmetry and that presentation that he does, listen, man, I think it's going to be very, very difficult to overcome.
Samir, I have the utmost respect for you. You're Mr. Olympia, but that doesn't mean you cannot lose some followers today. Tell me your top 5 at the Mr. Olympia. Tell me who's going to win, who's going to be second, who's going to be third, fourth, and fifth. I want you to get some messages. We have a lot of people here going, oh, look, Samir Legend. I'm not quite sure I recognize. Is that a bodybuilder or Bob?
I don't know. I can't see it. I wish I was on my home computer. I don't know, but I can't really, even with my glasses on my phone, it looks like so tiny. Yeah. Samir Legend. I don't know what it is. But anyway, if you want to ask me who do I think the top 5, let me start with Bob. Let Bob answer first, and then I will go right after. How's that?
No, Samir. First and foremost is the Mr. Olympia.
Well, let me tell you something. Listen, even though I won the Mr. Olympia, Bob comes from the right school. Bob comes from like this morning, I had to actually comment on Facebook something about Bob. The thing is about Bob, sometimes maybe sometimes can be a little bit harsh, but his intention is good. A little bit harsh. but his intention is good. The thing is, he's not afraid of telling the truth. That's the thing about Bob, Okay, let me get back to the question here. I'll tell you, I think Samson, Hadi, and Derek, I have to say these are the top 3. Those are my top 3. But I would like to see Derek harder. I like to see Derek harder. I haven't seen Derek concrete. I want to see concrete Derek on stage. When he does, oh my God, it's going to be very close. Now, if Samson comes in again, well, I'm not going to do the analysis, but these are my top 3. Let me just say something again, quick. Like in the past, I said things about Regan Grime. Okay, I said thing about Regan. Regan have all the necessary weapon, but he need to peak and he need to be masterful. When you are shredded to the bone with that complete physique, for God's sake, I proved it against guys who were like much bigger than me. So I proved it against Haney and Berto Fox.
Are you saying that Regan Grimes is going to be in 4th place?
No, I didn't say that yet. I didn't say that. I'm just saying someone like Regan comes in super shredded and poses good. Yeah, why not? He could. I'm saying he could, but will he? This is a question, big question mark. Will he be in that kind of condition? I think he could, but let's see. Now, the top 5, let me go back to the top 5. I think Samson, Derek, Hadi Chopin, and believe it or not, I would put guys like, what's his name from Iran? What's his name? I would put him in the top 5, but if he comes in also shredded. So this is the thing. Who else is the front runner there?
We got Martin Fitzwater.
Oh,
Nick
Martin.
Walker,
Martin
Nick
is
Walker, Bob Chapiro's favorite bodybuilder.
This is going to be crazy, Olympia. I'll tell you that right now.
Listen, I hate to be that guy, but I got to be that guy. Don't forget about Nick Walker, right? Everybody knows.
Well, let me, to be honest with you regarding Nick Walker.
Hold on, Samir. This is a monumental moment in the history of
Yeah,
bodybuilding.
this is
Bob,
big. Yeah,
are
this
you
is big.
giving some love to Nick Walker?
I got nothing but love for Nick Walker.
No,
That's where people got me wrong, bro. Let me tell you something. Nick Walker is a tremendous bodybuilder. I've given him lots of credit, but people only want to dwell on the negative, much like Regan Grimes. I gave 10 compliments to, and they focused on the one thing that I said he needs to get sharper. But you can't discount Nick. What the problem Nick's going to have is he's going to be the guy on the outside looking in when it comes to the guys with the symmetry, the proportion, the smaller waist. You know, that's just the way he's built, and he's built like a tank. The interesting thing will be is where does that put a guy like Nexzilla? Now,
well, you know, some of the judges don't think like you and I, Bob. And the thing is, I'll be honest with you. I've been checking Nick Walker, and I think Walker, Bob, sorry to cut you here. Walker is getting much smarter than before. He is really, I can see him putting his feet together now, and his midsection has really vastly improved. So I don't know what's magical he's doing, but he's definitely making ground, and probably you what you said about him gave him more incentive, make him driven much more. So maybe whatever you said about him helped him. You know, he just want to say, I'm going to prove Bob is wrong. So, but you know, he's really doing good. I commented one of his photos this morning. His waist looked a lot tighter than it was. Hey, before I was like you, Bob. I didn't like Nick's body. It looked like I didn't like it. But because I know the game very well. I lived it. I've been doing it for 50 years, Bob.
Yeah.
You can change things if you are smart, disciplined, and really learn from people that have been there, done that. Once you do that, your chances are going to improve for sure. So do I think I think he's going to surprise us. I think he's going to look damn good. But that remains to be seen. What the new Nick Walker is going to show up like, you know? So
you've got new talent coming in again in the form of Beirut. Again, God willing, he can get here. You got good Vito. Again, nobody's even mentioned him. He's a
wow, that talent. Guy is that big Vito, right? Man.
You've got Quentin. I think if Quentin wins Italy and he gets in, I mean, he's a good body. He still needs a year or two. He's got that tremendously big frame, but you can't take out Andrew Jack has a Mr. Olympia physique. Andrew Jack matches up very well with Samson Dauda. That can't be overlooked because he can push somebody out. And also Fitzwater, let me tell you something. I think Fitzwater, and I've said this, you know, I have no problem with saying this. He blew a golden opportunity at Pittsburgh because if he came in 100%, he would have beaten Nick and he would have beaten Derek. Now, I don't say that lightly. He would have beaten both those guys if what he brought was that fourth place finish physique from the Olympia. He didn't, and of course, he found himself on the outside looking in. But that doesn't mean that he's disappeared, okay? He was fourth in the Olympia, and I got a strange suspicion that he's going to get back to specs on that, and you're going to see the best ever Fitzwater. He's a problem for a lot of people, and he's going to push somebody out of that crew right there.
You know, I agree with Bob again, Tarek. You know, Andrew Jack cannot be ignored. If Andrew Jack comes in also sliced, and you need to be more professional. You know, the people don't understand what I mean by more professional. Right. There is a way to stand up on stage. There's that confidence. There's that the way how to create line with your body that can actually give you more edge that help you. Now, again, I was talking to Martin. Martin was at the expo here in Anaheim, and we had some talk. He's motivated. He said he wants to be tighter than ever. Of course, everybody wants to be better than ever. But Martin is put together properly. You know, Martin has his thighs and calves, got diamond calves. He's got nice arm. And he needs to peak better than he did the last show. The last show, I wasn't very impressed. But when he came in fourth at the Olympia, he was really good. And I think if he improved on that, I think we're going to see him also in the winner's circle.
So, Samir, just to recap here, because we want to register this so that all your fans know. You're picking Samson Dauda to win the show. You're picking Hadi Choopan to be second place. You're picking Derek Lunsford to be third place. Then you're going with Regan Grimes in fourth.
No, wait. I didn't confirm that. I said the top three would be the top three, but I didn't say in any order.
Fourth.
There's okay. Look. It's all depend on what we show up on that day. Are you 21, 20, 18 karat or 24K? 24K, yes, Samson is going to win it. Now, you see, we cannot ignore Hadi Chopin. Hadi's presence is unbelievable. When Hadi stand up in the middle, you cannot take your eyes off of him. Why?
For speculation purposes, let's assume everybody comes in at 100%.
Now that's a good question. That's a good question. That's a fair way to put it. If everybody come in 100%, yes, Samson will win. Derek will be close second. And I'm not saying Hadi is not pretty. I like the line. I like the physique, and I'm not biased for anyone. And I like all the guys. I mean, I talk with Hadi all the time. I talk with Samson. We always exchange messages. I talk with Martin. I mean, these guys are incredible, but Bob will agree with me or disagree, but I think Bob will agree. It's all depending on what we're going to see that day. That's why it's hard to confirm. You can't confirm. Impossible. But I speculate. I would say my top three they will remain my top three. And so at 100%, each one of them, even if each one 95%, Samson will take it. I haven't seen Samson at near 100%. The best Samson's already, he never reached more than 85 to 90%. If he's 100%, oh my God.
And let me tell you, that's scary for the other competitors that this guy is the reigning, defending Mr. Olympia champion, and we have not seen him in 100%. And arguably close. I'll give him 90% last year, and that was enough to get him in the winner's circle. That's why I say he's got the best symmetry, shape, proportion, size, presentation, hands down. When you go top three, you have to give consideration and you have to give respect that you have three Mr. Olympias competing against each other. All due respect to Brandon Curry, who I believe will be in, but I think he's just a little bit past the point of contending up there. But you've got three guys who have recently won the Mr. Olympia. So you have to give them their respect. You got to give them the initial nod. It's places 4, 5, and 6 that are really interesting because you've got a whole bunch of guys here that any one of them could be 4th, 5th, and 6th, from Martin to Andrew to Beirut. Again, Nexzilla, Good Vito. Again, Quentin, and again, we don't even know what Urs looks like. I know that's kind of very premature, but let's say this guy shows up looking like Hercules at Italy, and all of a sudden, is he a contender for 5th, 6th? Sure, of course he can.
Yeah, you know what? I love Quentin's body. I'll be honest with you. Quentin is the future, without a doubt. If he didn't do it this year, he's coming up, and watch out for him. I messaged him, and I told him. Okay, well, since me and Bob gave our opinion, since you're not Mr. Olympia, Tarek, but you got the eyes, you've been quite a bit around us. So what you say on the top 5 there, Tarek?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I cannot tell you who's going to be in the top 5 because I judge the show. So I'm legally binded.
Good excuse. Hey, good excuse.
No, I'm legally binded by the IFBB Pro League and the Mr. Olympia not to give any opinion about it. I can speculate, but I cannot give any solid predictions about it.
How about could you speculate? Could you speculate? Just give us.
Speculate that the greatest Mr. Olympia of all times is Lee Haney, followed by Ronnie Coleman, followed by Phil Heath, followed by Samir Bannout, followed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Physique. I'm talking about physiques.
Wow.
Hey, where's Sergio?
Hey, man, that's another tough.
I just saw a documentary that somebody speculated that Sergio Oliva Sr., the dad, is the greatest genetics of all times. Do you agree with that, Bob?
Absolutely. I don't think anybody who's a historian, I'm going to put this into 2 compartments, though. I got to give Steve Reeves credit because Steve Reeves kind of started it all of semi-modern bodybuilding, we'll call it. But those genetics, what a beautiful physique. I mean, he redefined an entire generation. Now, I'm going to put that away as history type of thing. Of modern era, we'll call that from the Olympia on. Sergio has absolutely the best genetics of any bodybuilder alive or dead to this point. You cannot get around him in his prime. Those arms versus that waist, that victory pose, the mass that he had, and you talk to Sergio Jr., and you got some real stories because he was there, obviously, as his son and knows all the ins and outs of the stories. This is a guy who did this with ancient, archaic equipment. This is a guy who did this with basics when it comes to gear. And this is a guy that did this drinking Diet Cokes and munching on chips and stuff like that. This guy had no dieting whatsoever, and he still had the best physique of all time. So, yeah, Sergio Senior, buddy.
No,
this
I have a question.
Listen.
A question for both of you.
Okay, but let me just say that. I like discussing bodybuilding with Bob instead of Sean Ray. Okay? I like to discuss bodybuilding with Bob instead of Sean Ray. Did you hear what I said? Yes. Why? Because Bob is not afraid to tell it like it is. He doesn't care. No. It's like you too, Ty. He just put Arnold Schwarzenegger in 5th place as a best Mr. Olympia. I mean, I disagree with you on that, but again, it's good to say it like it is, okay?
I think Arnold is the greatest icon in the history of our sport, but I think he needs a little bit more legs.
Look, let me tell you this, something maybe your viewer would like to hear. Look, Arnold is my hero. I collected every pictures of Arnold. Arnold was, to me, as a young kid fan, I loved Arnold, and I think Arnold is great. You can't see one bad pictures of Arnold. Arnold is incredible. However, at the 1980 Mr. Olympia, I thought Arnold shouldn't have won. And Sean Ray would argue with me. Look, Frank Zane, Boyarko, Mike Mentzer, Dennis said all of them disagree that Arnold should have won, except Sean Ray, who wasn't there. He said, no, Arnold should have won. That's why I want to talk to Bob. I don't want to talk to Sean Ray about these things.
Who should have won the 1980 Mr. Olympia?
Well, I think I was on stage next to all of them, and I can be honest with you, even my hero, Arnold, who I really want Arnold at the time. Yeah, Arnold didn't deserve it. That's all I can tell you. Anything, Mentzer, Frank Zane, Calendar, these guys were actually sharper and more. They peaked better than Arnold.
But if you had to pick one of them to win that show, who would have been?
I'm not sitting in the audience. I was backstage with them. I was on stage with them. But, I mean, toss-up between Frank Zane and Mike Mentzer, honestly, that day. It's a toss-up.
One thing, I don't know. We can argue those all day long. One thing that's unarguable, I don't care who you are, if you're a historian, you know this. One of the top 3 physiques of all time is unquestionably 1974 Arnold. That physique, forget about it. He could, and let me tell you, he didn't need any more legs. I mean, that guy, 74 was his peak. No question about it. You take him from 74, you take Sergio and any of the 3 Olympias that he won. Again, you take Ronnie Coleman, 1998 or arguably 2000 and actually 2001 Arnold for Ronnie was right up there as well. Phil Heath, again, 11, 12, or 13. These are, I mean, that's like your fictitious, like your fantasy bodybuilding. Samir, obviously, the year you won. I mean, you redefined. Let me tell you something. People don't know this about Samir. You never heard the term, but bodybuilding shows are won from the back until Samir presented that back when he won the Olympia in '83. He's the one that coined that phrase.
This is Arnold in 1974.
I agree with Bob. I agree with Bob once more, and I think that's when Arnold look is incredible. On top of that, have you seen a photo of Arnold that he looks bad? Have you seen one photo of Arnold posing like a meathead that he doesn't look professional? No, Arnold is the real deal, and he is really the king of bodybuilders. Okay, he is. I know. I mean, look, Ronnie Coleman. We love Ronnie. He's huge. He won Mr. Olympia at the same amount of years, or maybe one more year. But the thing is, Ronnie never really presented himself like Arnold or Zane. If Ronnie did, oh my God. But anyway, all respect for Ronnie. He's one of the greatest ever. But I tell you what Bob says about Arnold during these years, he's like unbelievable, incredible. Incredible.
And the 80, I mean, obviously that'll debate it for all time, but the biggest crime ever wasn't 80, it was 81
What's
when
going on here?
Danny Padilla should have won the Olympia, not Franco Colombo.
Hey, what's going on here with the backdrop, Bob?
That show is in New York, and Lou Ferrigno was in it actually, and Arnold was amazing in that
Big
film.
Louie.
And, yeah, and I have a friend who was there telling me about this. Look at Arnold, look amazing. He's so full, so ready, didn't complicate things. Not 1 milligram of insulin. Let's talk about that part. You know, I love the way the muscle looked back then. You know, Tarek, the body looks more prettier. The body looked prettier, okay? And I'm not being biased, I'm being honest.
You know, there's some great shots there, Samir, of Big Louie in there. I've contended for years that if Big Lou didn't get the Hulk role and stayed with bodybuilding, he may have won the Olympia up until you came along in '83, because you can make a case for Big Louie, and he was what, like 24?
Yeah.
He's a young guy. That Big Louie would have won Olympias from 1976 to 1982.
But look at the picture. I know the angles are different, but you can clearly see that Arnold, despite the fact not being a Tom Platz in terms of legs, he's got a better quad and a better hamstring development than Lou Ferrigno. He also has a very thick chest, right? And you can see the biceps popping out.
Yeah, man. And you know, let me also take you back to the 1980. I was training next to Arnold at World Gym, and Arnold didn't tell anybody he was competing. He looked really, really good, and I was surprised. I thought Arnold was going to come back and win it all, but then Arnold have a problem with his rotator cuff, which has ended up taking cortisone shot, and I think that cortisone really it kind of messed up his chemistry somewhat, and he'd end up not peaking properly at the 1980 Mr. Olympia, okay? But, you know, the way I saw him in Mr. Olympia, I mean, at World Gym in the early 80s, I mean, like 6 weeks before the show, oh my God, he was like coming back. I was motivated training next to my hero, and he really was killing it, you know? Anyway, so, but yeah, I mean, you know, I'm with you here, Bob, on how Arnold was so great during these years. It was unbelievable. Then, you know, when you go and do a movie for 6-7 years and make it come back, your body is not the same, you know.
I think the chest and the arms were
like I say, Arnold up there in the top two genetically. You know, I mean, listen, he did tremendous things. Sergio definitely number one, and I gotta give a credit where it's due to the deceased, but Matt Mendenhall, despite never being a pro, probably was one of the most genetically gifted bodybuilders I've ever seen.
Yes, yeah, he did. Rest in peace. He was very, very good, man.
Phil Heath.
Oh, honestly, I would give you something about Phil Heath. Phil,
let me tell you about Phil, okay?
Okay.
The best matchup of all time, all bodybuilders, all decades, all everything. The best matchup, hypothetical, that you could ever have is prime Phil Heath against prime Ronnie Coleman. That would be the fantasy matchup, and I would love to see that play out, because let me tell you something. As great as Ronnie was, Phil was maybe even a little bit more complete at his peak.
Yes, I have to agree with you. You know, I think I even said it before that Phil Heath have the edge over Ronnie in some area. Okay, when you talk about the quad, when you talk on the legs and the calves, the way it floats, I didn't say they were bigger than Ronnie. I said they were put together. Phil Heath from head to toe put together, lots of harmony, lots of muscle quality, and he really peaked year after year after year. And then until the last couple of years, he wasn't as good. But that's like all of us. We don't, you know, when you compete and win like 6-7 times, you know, the body is not the same after that. And so, you know, we all have a expiration date, I guess, Bob.
Yeah, I see some messages coming in from what about Sean Roden? I mean, with all due respect, what about him? I mean, he's not in the same conversation as Phil, even though he beat Phil, and I didn't have him beating Phil that show. Sean was a very good bodybuilder, and he was a good Mr. Olympia. But when you talk about all time, no, he didn't have the upper body, didn't have the arms, the chest, or the back to. He was abs and thighs, and that was phenomenal. But no, not with those guys. No.
Yeah, I was there when Sean Roden won that show, And I think if I look at it in some of the poses, he was losing to Phil Heath, but Phil Heath had no control of his middle. Phil Heath could not control his midsection, and so therefore that gave Sean Roden the edge. And Sean was pretty sharp. He peaked properly, right, Bob?
Yeah, if Phil was the victim of his own circumstances, he came in the year before and the midsection wasn't great, but he was still better than everybody else, and they gave him the victory rightfully.
Yes.
The second year he came back after the surgery, and it was a little bit worse than it was the year before, and Roden was very sharp in the midsection. Overall, I still think that Phil beat Roden on every single shot other than the abdominal shot, but the back shots, he was smoking them. The thickness from the sides, it wasn't even close. So Phil kind of became a victim because no matter how you dice it, and judge and Tarek knows this as one of our top judges.
Yeah, you're right, Bob.
So when
I
you
was
see
very
a guy that you've seen,
Bob, we lost you for a little bit.
10% better.
Bob, we lost you for a little bit.
You can't get that out of your head.
We lost.
What's that?
We lost you for about 10 seconds. Can you just go back what you said about Phil Heath?
Yeah. So what I was saying was, Phil was a victim of his own circumstances, being that you can't help. And Tarek, you know this as a top pro judge. When you've seen a guy at 100%, you can't get that out of your head. So you, even though it's not technically you're right, because you're supposed to compare what you're seeing on stage at that time, you have the image of your head that this guy was better before. Phil, if Phil's name was Joe Smith and he came out there, he would have won that Olympia, because that would have been like, oh my God, look at this guy. Holy crap, he's great, right? But you're comparing Phil against Phil, and then you're comparing Phil against Sean Roden at that particular time. And I understand why the judges made that call. Personally, I still would have had Phil winning that show, and he would have been the all-time winningest bodybuilder.
That's why they call him the gift, okay? And the gift was really, he got a gift by discovering Hani Romboyd, because Hani Romboyd was his savior, because Hani understood exactly how to peak, and he brought him to every show right on the money. And really, with all due respect, even though Sean Roden won that Olympia, he didn't really win it by a landslide. He won it by a hair. I mean, for all I know, I was closer friend with Sean Roden. You know, I'm not very close with Phil Heath, but the truth must be told.
Well, he didn't. So, I have an expression I like to use here. He didn't win as much as Phil lost it. There's a slight difference there.
Yeah. You don't remember that, Tarek?
Well, I was there, and I'm gonna tell you this. I think it was a combination of factors. It was the best Sean Roden ever.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he needed more muscle on the upper body, especially on the arms. Yes. But it was bar none his best conditioning, his best look. He really nailed it on that day. And
I agree.
Phil Heath still had the freaky factor, the back double biceps. The arms were still huge. The legs were big. But
he flows so well. Yeah,
the midsection was quite prominent. You know, there was a distension there. It was clear.
Yes, totally agree. So anyway, I tell you what, this sport is incredible. It's incredible. And, you know, when you see a guy like Phil Heath, look, you know, I know Dorian Yates won the Olympia, I don't know how many times, 6 times?
6, yeah.
6 times. And, you know, honestly, if you tell me compare like Phil Heath and Dorian Yates, you know, I am not going to be biased here, but I'll tell you the truth. Comparing Ron Coleman, the best Ron Coleman next to the best Phil Heath, you know, when you talk about beef and quality, the best quality I've seen on a bodybuilder was Ron Coleman, 2001, was it? 2001 or 2002. Ron Coleman was beyond shredded at almost 290 pounds. I saw him. I went to Ron's room. I went to Ron and I saw him. And you know what? I have a Prince Abdulaziz from Qatar. And he told me, Samir, we would like to give Ron Coleman, if you win the Olympia, a crystal tiger or crystal whatever. And I said, okay, well, we'll make it happen. I talked to Ben Weider, rest in peace. And Benny said, of course, Samir will do that. So I went with the prince to Ronnie's room and knocked on the door, and the prince about to have a heart attack. He looked at Ronnie like, and on the way out, Bob, I saw Lou Ferrigno coming out. He said, "Oh my God, Samir, you don't believe it. You don't believe it. What I just saw." And I said, "What?" I said, "Ron Coleman is scary." And that was the best Ron Coleman ever. Do you remember that, Bob? Did you see him during that time?
Oh, listen, everybody remember. I remember Chad showing me pictures of Ronnie about 2 weeks out of the Olympia, and he was, I don't know, close to I think he was 291. It was the freakiest bodybuilder. He, as good as he was there, he was actually a little bit freakier and better about 2 weeks earlier, if you can imagine that. But that's a physique that you can't beat. You got to be different in order to beat. You can't beat Ronnie at being Ronnie. But listen, we can wax on these all day long. I want to take a few minutes, boys, as we got a couple minutes left, because we've got Italy coming up, and there's a lot on the line here as somebody's going to qualify for this Olympia. And here's your front runners. And I tell you what, it's really shaped up into a good show. We finally got Sergio Jr. coming back. Speaking of Sergio's.
Oh, yeah.
He looks tremendous. I've seen some recent pictures. I didn't see anything from the back, but his front shots are tremendous.
Yes.
Clint Eastwood, again, coming off of 2 shows. He's probably the front runner. Urs making his debut. Tim Budesheim. Who else we got in that list, Tarek? I don't have the list in front of me.
Well, on the list,
Mark Hector, I believe, is in there.
Mark Hector. You got Sergio Oliva. You got William Martins from Brazil. You got Tim Budesheim. You also have right here. I would say Lewis Breed from the UK is somebody that has placed in the top 3 in shows.
Lewis.
I'm going to tell you this. Hossein Kalate. Now, one guy that has won a pro show, Theo Leguihier from France. Emir Omrej from Germany. So it has some very, very solid bodybuilders. It should be a good show. I spoke to Sergio Oliva Jr. this morning, and he said, Tarek, a lot of people talking about Urs, a lot of people talking about Quentin Beastwood. They might regret it. They might be talking about Sergio Oliva Jr. after the show.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This is the best Sergio I have ever seen. Like Bob said, I totally agree with Bob. He's the sharpest he ever looked. He looks more confident than ever. And you know what? Again, I mean, Quentin is like dangerous, man. So I like to see, and I really want the best man to win. I mean, sometimes you don't want to. I cannot take side. Sergio at his best ever right now. He really mimicked his father. He could be a little bit tighter yet in the middle. I mean, he really looks good. I saw lat spread, double bicep. Like Bob says, I didn't really see much back shot. But again, either him or Quentin will get the qualification for the Olympia, Bob, or what?
Well, I think it's going to come down to those two, and I think I'm going on the short limb. I think Urs, even though untested and he's in different waters, I just got this feeling like he's going to present a physique that people go, oh my God, look at Urs and look at the muscle he's put on. If he's in that kind of condition, he can hang with those guys. He's a big boy. He's got a lot of height. He's got height on Sergio. He's about just a tad shorter than Quentin. Quentin's about 6'1" or 6'2", I believe. So he's a big boy. But I think it's going to come down to those 3 guys. But I wouldn't be shocked. A lot of this depends on what Sergio looks like from the back. Traditionally, that hasn't been his best point. From the front, he's going to be right there and probably beating everybody.
Yeah,
when he turn around, if he can hang, if he can do a Samir Bannout from the back, it's over.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest with you, Bob, I'm with you. I'm with you. Look, what Urs really, if Urs have the arm, Bob, Urs needed to improve his arm. And I think Urs, in the past, he tried to drop so much weight, and somehow, if Breo loses from the legs, Urs loses from the arm somehow. Now, maybe the new Urs, and having Urs with a tiny waist, that's going to help him a lot because his waist smaller, and that probably could match Sergio in that area or probably be better than Sergio in that area. but Sergio is gonna outdo him in the arm and the mass. I don't know. I like to see it, but like Bob said, Quinton, Sergio, and Urs are these three guys right there. One of them, I guess. I wish they give like two pro card instead of one. I'd like to see them all make it to the Olympia. But unfortunately, there's only one, right, Bob? There's only one card.
There's a show in Germany a week later. So whoever places second should head to Germany to try to earn their Olympia qualification. Talking about Olympia qualification, tomorrow, myself, Linda Murray, and Tim Wilkins, we're going to be talking about the new rules of the qualification for the 2026 Mr. Olympia. We've had a great week, great shows. Samson Dauda's impressive posing. Italy with Urs Kalachinski making a statement and going to the Open. I want to thank my co-host, the one and only Lion of Lebanon, Mr. Olympia himself, Samir Bannout. And I also want to thank my other co-host. He's the 2000 Mr. USA's. He's the voice of bodybuilding.
Yes.
And he's the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia. And surprisingly enough, today, none of you YouTubers will quote him saying nice things about Nick Walker, but that's okay. We understand you need to make news. We make good journalism. My name is Tarek El-Guindi with the Mr. Olympia. We'll see you next time with the great competitors.
Ladies and gentlemen,